Now, this Christmas, a nationwide building society are leading the awareness charge to educate, reassure, and ensure that Northern Ireland is vigilant and doesn't let its guard down when it comes to shopping online, especially with supply shortages potentially driving people to take even more risks when it comes to purchasing their gifts this year. Now, ex-Eastender Shaun Williamson is telling us all to be vigilant, especially at this time of year, so we don't fall victim to these scams. And I'm pleased to say Shaun joins us now on the line. Shaun, how are you?
Very well indeed. It's great to be talking to you.
So we're talking online fraud today and purchase scams in particular. So how prevalent are these scams these days then?
So I should say why I'm here, because there's a couple of things. Otherwise, people think it's odd. Basically, I'm playing Captain Hook in Bournemouth. Okay, so the idea is that obviously he's the ultimate Christmas baddie, but this year the Christmas baddies are the scammers. See what we've done there?
Ah, yes, yes.
My own personal link really is through my late mother. She had dementia, and the amount of times I'd be round her house when she was still able to live independently, the phone would go. She'd pick the phone up, look of terror on her face, but I haven't got a computer, I haven't got a car. I'll grab the phone off her. This is her son, you talk to me, the line would go dead. One time she was phoned up by the phone company. You have to pay us £99.99 or you get cut off immediately. You know, one thing to impress on people, the bank will never phone you and ask for your details. They've got them, why would they? They're never going to ask you for money. There's instances of like the same thing with phone companies. They're never going to phone you up and ask you for money, ever. There was one instance, a man, 82-year-old man was phoned by a BT security engineer. We need access to your internet connection because we think you've been compromised. So we let them in, even into his bank account, lost £5 instantly. You know, I'm like, all right, today we're talking about online purchases, which we'll come on to. But, you know, be aware that you will never get phoned by this. But regarding online purchases, the idea is just try and make yourself as safe as possible. Unfortunately, these people are really clever. I hate to give them that accolade, but technically they're incredibly clever. And they tend to move. Banks and building societies put in blocks and they tend to be able to override it all the time. It's terrifying. So it's the usual things, you know, try and pay by card or a secure app if you're purchasing, because there's 2 busy shopping weeks coming up now, probably the 2 busiest of the year. Try and pay by something that gives you that security that you'll get your money back if you have been scammed. As soon as they start going off piste about, forget, will you send £1,000 in an envelope? Forget it, obviously. But another common one is a bank transfer. I'd like you to do a bank transfer. I've never done a bank transfer in my life to someone I've never met, and you really shouldn't do that. Unless they're nearby, you can go around, you can see the bike you're buying, for instance. Yeah, try it out. I've seen the person, I'll see where they live. Yeah, okay, here's my bank transfer. I've got my bike. It's a good product. But if they're abroad, honestly, just don't do it. And likewise, things like fake websites. Most websites will leave some form of what we call a digital footprint if they're genuine. Do you know what I mean? That you will be able to trace. Don't just go on customer reviews. If I had a pub, I'd be like, yeah, could you just say I'm the best pub ever to me mates? You know, we know that happens. So just try and do some homework. There's Trustpilot. They will often be able to let you know if it's a genuine website. So little things like this, really.
Because the scammers, they're getting so up to date now with things. You know, they're actually cloning websites. There was the HMRC one that went around recently. People were getting the texts, and it looked absolutely genuine. I think it was one number out or something that it was so close to the HMRC website.
Terrifying, and that's one thing that you really want to put right is your tax. Nearly everyone has a fear of falling behind on tax because you don't want this bill to come back and bite you in the backside 6 months later. So they play on people's fear, they play on people's decency, because most people are trusting and nice people and they want to trust people.
Yeah.
And these people, I've done a lot of homework into this. They say, I'll quote, they felt abused, silly, embarrassed, nervous. £350 million has been scammed in the first 6 months of this year. But how many people haven't admitted it because they're embarrassed? One woman was quoted as saying she felt like she'd been groomed. She was so convinced she thought it was her bank. And she said, if someone else had done this, I'd have said they were stupid.
Yeah. And of course, if you do get a phone call from somebody pretending to be your bank, you have the right just to say, hang on, I'm going to put the phone down and call my bank to make sure that it's legit.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and obviously do it on a different number that they phoned you on, yeah, or that they're purporting to be. It's terrifying. And apparently, as well as older people, we know that, I mean, I struggle with technology. I'm 57. So people in their 80s are going to, and they're vulnerable in their health or their mental health. And young people, apparently, because they live online, they're so tech savvy, they think it won't happen to them. I knew everything when I was 18. I don't know about you. So, you can't tell them, they're very vulnerable as well, So it's just trying to take every step you can to protect yourself, and it takes 30 seconds to check your bank app. Check your bank app every day. If there's a suspicious transaction, instantly get hold of your bank. Don't open suspicious text, pop-up windows. Hey, click on this link. Don't click on this link. If something looks too good to be true, it probably is. If it's the must-buy toy of the year and everywhere is sold out, but hey, there's a guy in Halifax who's got it for a tenner.
It's way too good to be true. And of course, we're seeing that because of the popularity of social media. We're believing this stuff now because it's hitting our Facebook and our Twitters every day, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's fair to say, it isn't. Facebook get a lot of stick, but, they're not the villains. It's someone, just using their medium to set up a fake account, And you think, oh, it's on Facebook, it's on, but they'll do anything. I mean, some of the examples we've heard, again, this is going slightly off script because it's to do with an email. A friend of mine had his emails hijacked. So he was invoicing customers for cars he'd sold them, and they were sending him the money back straight into the hacker's address because they were hijacking his emails at source. Oh. So it's terrifying,
Give us those useful website details again if people want more information.
Certainly, I unashamedly read them. I don't want to get them wrong. There's Take5-Stop Fraud, and Nationwide has their own one, nationwide.co.uk, and you'll see a link, help/fraud and security.
Ah, brilliant. So, Shaun, what's your plans for Christmas then?
I'll be putting on a hook and a pirate's hat right up until Christmas Eve. I'll probably get in at midnight on Christmas Eve. So Christmas Day, my two grown-up children will come round, and I'm afraid, I usually just lie on the sofa moaning that I'm tired. So New Year's Eve will be good. We've got all of New Year's Day off, and New Year's Eve and all of New Year's Day off. And what we tend to do, me and the wife, we'll spoil ourselves in January when everyone's gone back to work and the place is deadly quiet. We'll make up for it and grab a weekend in January somewhere, maybe a posh hotel on the coast or something. So to make sure we've got a little treat, But I'm not knocking. Panto is great. We're grateful to be back. Everything's crossed about the latest strain. Otherwise, it'd be, he's 2 meters behind you. Yeah. So everything crossed for that.
Any projects for next year we should know about?
I think in January, nothing major. In January, I'm doing Eggheads, which is exciting. So we're all ex-mastermind winners taking on the Eggheads.
But you'll do very well because you're a quiz expert, aren't you?
I wrote a book about it called A Matter of Fact. So I spent a year heavily immersed in the world of quizzing. The day my book came out in hardback, the bookshop shut. So I've been lucky enough to win Master. It was the celebrity version, so we only had to win one heat. I'm not going to. So, and I managed to win Pointless a couple of times and beat the Chasers. I took them for 125 grand. So, yeah, I've been very lucky. But really, I've got something like 40 dates in the diary. I do a lot of stand-up comedy, or I present awards, or I do something called karaoke, unashamedly. So, already got about 40 dates in the diary. So, yeah, I look forward to doing that. If something major came up and I had enough notice, obviously we'd reschedule them, and obviously we all want to get back onto television, because that's to keep the ball in the air. But if it doesn't happen, I have a fun life anyway, so it's just the way it is.
Ah, brilliant. Well, Shaun, it's been great talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us, and have yourself a great Christmas.
Stay safe, everyone. Do your homework.